I'd like to ask you a simple question. What are you reading?
Welcome to the podcast with your host, Craig T. Owens. Craig's new book, When Sheep Bite, is available now at craigtowens.com.
As you might be able to tell by looking behind me, and if you were able to look around the rest of the room, I love reading. I've got books all over the place, and I usually have several of them in process at the same time. But I wonder sometimes, is that the best use of my time? Should I be reading? Should you be reading? You may have heard the line that leaders are readers, and I do believe that. And so I think that it's important for us to read. So let me back up a little bit. Instead of asking, what are you reading? Maybe I should be asking, why are you reading? Or maybe on the other side, why are you not reading? We need to make sure that we've got the right motivation, because that's going to be for anything that we do, whether it's reading or another activity. That's going to be the motivation that causes us to stick with it, make it a priority, make sure that we reserve the time in our schedule for that thing that we think is important to us. And I do think that reading is important. Now, hands down for me, my all-time favorite book, without a doubt, is my Bible. And so I make sure that I have time to read that every single day. Even if I don't have time to read another book, I always have time to read my Bible. And I do that in a couple of different ways. I really appreciate the YouVersion Bible app, and I will work my way through different reading plans on there. But I also have my written Bible, the printed version of the Bible, and I will choose different ones to go all the way through the Bible. I don't jump around from place to place. I just read, put my bookmarker in, and when I'm done, the next day I open it up and pull that bookmarker out and start right from that spot. And I'll use different study Bibles as I go through there. I've used things like an archaeological study Bible, for instance, or different things like that that will help me capture the essence of other things. And the reason why I do that is because the Bible helps me understand what I need to read in other areas, because the Bible reveals to me where I need to make improvements. I recently read an article online by Scott Hubbard, who gave 3 ideas for reading. And he said that we need to read, number 1, to love God more. And that's the reason why I go to my Bible first. But there's certainly other books written by other people that would help me with that, but to love God. But then what was that great commandment that Jesus gave us? Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And what did he say the second one was? To love your neighbor as yourself. And so Scott Hubbard adds that as well. So number 1, read to love God more. Number 2, read to love people more. And then the third thing that Scott adds is for us to read to love loveliness more. And so we begin to appreciate the beautiful things around us, or even the beautiful language that might come from a poem. And so we got to be careful about the books that we're picking. I don't want to pick a book that is just a waste of time, that I'm going to walk away from that and say, well, I was entertained for a few moments while I was reading that, but I didn't gain anything of lasting value from that. And so I'm very cautious about the books that I pick. Sometimes I pick a book and I begin to read it and I don't get very far into it and I abandon the book and say, this is not what I expected this book to be. I'm not going to spend any more of my time on it. I'm going to set this book aside. So there are very few books that I will keep around, but those are books that I have read from cover to cover and I found lasting value in there. One other thought that I would give you that I love, it's from C.S. Lewis. He was saying it was very important that we mix up our reading, that we don't want to read just things that are written right now, kind of current events, but we want to read old books as well. In fact, he said to make sure that you are asking yourself that question. Have I put in an old book? Now, the value of old books or the old authors is that we get a chance to say, have their thoughts stood the test of time? When you're reading something that somebody wrote 70 years ago, 100 years ago, 500 years ago, and you say that is still solid truth that I can apply today, that's a great test. Sometimes if we're reading books that are contemporary books, You might find in just a couple of years that maybe science has discovered something different that has invalidated that or has superseded that. And so we want to make sure that we're getting a good blend of new ideas and old ideas as well. But again, why are we doing this? Well, like I said at the beginning, I believe that leaders are readers. If you want to expand your leadership influence, you have to be able to relate to as many people as possible. You have to be able to help as many people as possible. And I can serve them best if I have more information for them. So just like Scott Hubbard said, I'm going to read so I can love God, so I can love others, and I can love loveliness. And that is going to help me lead as well. So take some time to ask yourself, not just necessarily what are you reading, but why are you reading? And make good choices with your books.
Craig's new book, When Sheep Bite, is available now. To order, go to craigtowens.com.